Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are looking at alternatives, and some look for less on the Chanel boy bag. Now I have not been, particularly quiet and hidden about this, but the Chanel boy bag is not necessarily my favorite. What I did find are a list of bags that definitely get that idea across. Most of these, honestly, I like better than the boy itself. Really exciting as well, I have a bag reveal of the newest bag that was added to my collection. I think you're gonna love it. And comment down below, what are your thoughts and feelings on the Chanel boy bag in 2021 going into 2022? Are you over it? Are you into it? Do you have one, or do you still want one? So if you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Catherine. I do information on the luxury pre-loved and resale market for handbags. I work in the industry and have for very, very many years. So I interact with a lot of bags from seasons past. A lot of the time they recycle design features, and I get to come in contact with those almost every day of my life. So that's what inspired today's video. I have a couple of other videos where I give you guys my best alternatives for some other really popular bags that I will have linked down below. So if you want to see more of that, as well as shopping tips, authentication information, and just other general information about the luxury resale market, then be sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and let's get started. Okay, so to get started, I just want to sort of give you the mindset and idea of sort of the characteristics and silhouettes that I was looking for when I was searching for the alternatives. To start, the boy bag comes in 4 sizes. So there is the small, which I think is more cubical, for lack of a better word, is a little bit more square than some of the other ones. Then there are the 2 medium sizes. One is the old medium and the new medium. These are rectangular. Personally, my favorite size of the boy bag is the new medium. I really like the size and the the ratio of height to width, if that makes sense. I think that is the best iteration of this bag. And then there's also the large. The large is, I would say, the least popular of the boy bag sizes, and definitely has a different silhouette than I think that the other medium ones do. Crossbody is very important. Extra points if the bag can double to be worn, if the straps on the alternatives can double to be worn on the shoulder. So the ones I was looking for are a lot more boxy in shape. They sort of have, and the styles are going to be a bit more on the edgy side. It's more rectangular in shape and definitely on the boxier side. One thing to note about the boy bag is that they're very deep. They're very deep bags. If you turn them to their side, you're going to have a lot of relatively more space. So you're able to, actually fit stuff in there. That's pretty wide. That I think is notable about a bag of this size and shape and style. Bags tend to actually be a lot more narrow than that if you actually take a look at them, side by side. So the depth on the boy bag is definitely one of the important characteristics. Now, the first bag on my list is going to be the Dior Diorama. This is a pretty obvious one, but I actually happen to like the Diorama a lot better than the Chanel boy. The Diorama is definitely Dior's answer to the Chanel boy bag. Personally, I kind of prefer the silhouette of this one a little bit better. I find it to be a bit more streamlined and classic. I really like the clean lines, and I really appreciate that this one has a magnetic closure. It has very similar straps to the Chanel boy that can be worn crossbody or doubled, and it comes in a variety of sizes. What I like is that this one has a lot more structure than the actual boy does, and over time they do tend to lose their structure, so I find the boxiness is a little bit misplaced. Ideally, if you are looking for something that's on the boxier side, you would want it to kind of maintain its structure. I like that, for straight lines to stay straight, and they, over time, especially if the bag isn't handled well, then it's not going to maintain that line, which I've spoken about many times before. I don't have to belabor this point, but the Diorama does a great job of maintaining that for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, it is a harder leather, and I think it's reinforced a lot better than the Chanel boy bag. The clasp is magnetic, so it's going to snap into place a little bit easier. It's not going to require the same levels of manipulation to open and close it, which is another thing that tends to squeeze the bag, to squeeze the depth in the bag that I mentioned earlier. Just generally, I don't know, I tend to find it a little bit more pleasing aesthetically. Is it just me? great news about the Diorama. The Diorama unfortunately was not very popular and it did not hold its resale value. That's great news for you and I here today. If you like the look and want to spend a little bit less money, Boy Bag, I want to say retails at, I'm gonna say over 5,000. I don't know exactly what it is at this moment because every time you blink the price changes. But what's great about the Dior Diorama is that at least on the resale market, I do believe this bag has been discontinued by Dior, so you're not gonna be able to find it new. But on the resale market, you're gonna be able to find great deals out there. These tend to go in the 2,000 range, and I've seen them go for a lot less than that if you're able to find a good deal in a cool color. My favorite ones actually are the patent leather Canage. They made like a metallic graphite color that has this like imprinting on it. I'll leave a photo of it here. I think it is absolutely breathtaking, and that's another one that I would love to have in my collection, much more so than the Boy, and you know, much better price. So another one from Dior, we have one from the wish list. I'm not gonna talk about this bag too much because I feel like I've talked about it a lot. This is the Dior Trompe Montaigne or Montaigne 30. This one is made from a really nice glazed leather. It has the CD clasp. The flap doesn't come all the way down, but I definitely do think that this like evokes a lot of the elements of the Boy. It's like nice and boxy, more on the structured side. Obviously goes crossbody. The sizes are similar. I think that the Montaigne 30 is going to be around the size of the Old Medium Boy, which is the smaller of the mediums. And these also tend to go for anywhere from 2,200 to 3,000, depending. These are still available in stores. I think the current retail is about, I'm gonna say like 3,300 USD. The hardware is really cool on these, and one of my favorite things about this bag is that it has a nice roomy pocket in the back. It has the depth, it has the size, it has the functionality, and is a lot less expensive than the Chanel Boy. Now is a good time, I think, to reveal the catalyst for this whole video, and that is a new one that I just added to my collection. Okay, we have one from Givenchy. I love Givenchy. I feel like Givenchy is a brand that is not talked about enough. So I just purchased this one from Fashionphile not too long ago. I have already worn it. I'm completely in love. This is the Infinity bag. But this is the Infinity bag in this like limited edition ombre that they did, black and white. You guys know that I've been on the hunt for a white bag for the better part of a year now, and this kind of does both things. It has blackout hardware, it has the flap detail, and it's just really, really cool. This one is most similar in size to the Old Medium Boy, and also has the flap detail. So to me, this bag knocks it out of the park. The whole reason that in my mind, a lot of the time I can justify spending top dollar is because design features just really come together and make the like usability accessible, if that makes sense. Right, so the Infinity bag is one I believe that has been discontinued. This was a limited edition one that they did. I will show you the regular ones. I have had my eye on this bag for a really long time. They make it in a variety of colors. I know of black, the really bright red that Givenchy does, and they tend to have like gold or silver hardware that is also really striking. I've had that bag on my wish list for a really long time, but then I saw this one pop up at a price that I just could not say no to. This bag is made of that glazed leather that I'm really into in this moment. It's very waterproof. I believe it's the same leather that they use in the shiny Antigona. It feels very similar. It definitely keeps the structure and has a little bit of sheen to it. So it opens up here, a little clasp here. Just push that up and the bag opens. There is a adjustable crossbody strap. I keep mine stored on the inside. It is nice and roomy. It has a small pocket on the inside. This one definitely has that edgy and refined style. It's of a similar size. You're gonna save a lot of money, especially when it comes to the resale market, because this is another one that people just didn't seem to really take hold when they were making it. I happen to love it, and I think that it's fantastic, but they did not hold their value on the resale market very, very well. Now the thing that knocks this bag out of the park for me, the clasp on this bag has the best magnet I think that I have ever seen. So the way to close this bag is that you just simply put it in place. You have to line it up minimally, like I'm basically doing this with 2 fingers, And yeah, it just clips right in. No pushing, no prodding, almost no manipulation. It knows where it's supposed to go and it goes right in. Like, I'm not pushing it. That magnet is perfection. It's much easier to do when I'm wearing it. Hopefully I will have shown you that in a split screen or in some B-roll or something. But this magnet, this clasp, was designed so that it's supposed to go in with minimal manipulation. You don't have to coax it in. The magnet on this is strong enough so that it can sense and feel when the clasp is closer, and it kind of closes by itself. I have complained for years that Chanel does not use magnets on their clasps. The Wallet on Chain doesn't have a magnetic clasp, and that is one of the reasons why they get so smushed over time. But with that one, it's not so big a deal because it's not as it's a more narrow bag on the inside, so there's a lot less material. What happens when you have a bag with this much depth, the depth on this one is like, I would say approximately 2 inches, maybe a little bit more than that. On the boy bag, you have all of this extra material, and it just, with the repeated like squeezing and pushing over time, that leather begins to soften, and all of a sudden you lose all of that great structure and rectangular boxy shape. This one is less likely to do that. Obviously it has to be stored properly. Make sure to not smush it inside of a suitcase. You have to stuff it. But over the course of wearing it, it's not gonna have a whole bunch of like little squeezes that eventually flatten the bag out entirely. It also helps that this is made from a more structured leather. Just generally, I just find that this is such a better option. So this came in at a little under $700, and I mean, that's almost the sales tax. So I think this one is such a great option, definitely one to consider. There aren't a ton of them out there, and if you don't want to go so like, you know, avant-garde, honestly, I'm gonna struggle to style this in my own wardrobe, but it's totally worth the struggle for me. I will figure out how to wear this bag in this colorway. But if all else fails, I can just go back to the well and get one black with silver hardware like I wanted initially. I will try to find some and link them down below, as well as all of the rest of the bags that I mentioned in this video. This is not one to miss. It's kind of a no-brainer. It's very cool, and it's just really easy to use and much more affordable than the Chanel boy bag. Next up is another one from Chanel. This is called the Chanel Statement Flap. If the classic flap and the boy had a baby, it would be the Chanel Statement Flap. It has a lot of elements of both bags, and this is one that is technically like a seasonal bag, but they did make it in a variety of different seasons. And it's definitely more on the affordable side when it comes to Chanel bags. It has a classic CC turn lock, and the chain can be worn singled or doubled. This is a great option. Definitely more on the affordable side. This is just a great one to add to your collection to begin with. And there aren't really a ton out there, so it's definitely signature Chanel. You can tell from like across the street that's a Chanel bag. It's not one that you're gonna see out at dinner like a million times. Personally, I hate that. All right, so this one is a contemporary one. The next one we're gonna go with is the Bottega Cassette. It's definitely on the puffier side. So this isn't like an exact one-to-one, but I find that the shape is kind of similar. And to be honest, the capacity, with the puffiness of the capacity of the cassette bag, and when you compare it to the smaller sizes of the boy, being the small and the old medium, you can kind of fit the same amount. The boy doesn't really have so much by way of interior capacity, so you're kind of going to be doing the same type of deal. This is definitely more trendy. It's more like of the moment, kind of gives a similar vibe. And some of the newer ones with the like chunky chain details are kind of cool. This one is a throwback. I talked about this bag a couple of months ago in my bags we forgot about video. This one sort of looks like a book turned on the side, but once again, it has that depth, the square shape, and if you can find them on the resale market, there for some reason are not a lot of them out there. It definitely is an option to consider. Somehow this list has 3 Dior bags on it. Next up is the Ja Dior bag. I actually really like this one. It has that same shape and the same proportions. What I really like about it as well is that it has the chain strap that is attached on the top, very similar to the boy. I don't know that this one goes crossbody necessarily, depending on the size that you get. but it can be worn doubled or singled. I think that the Jade Dior and the cutout, I think that's just a really, really cool and interesting detail that just really brings something to the bag. I'm pretty sure that with some of them you can like stick your hand through that loop. If I can find any photos of that, I'll do my best to put them up here and show you guys. But this is definitely one to consider. They are all over the resale market for generally under $2,000. I happen to really like this in white for some reason. And this one definitely does the edgy thing in a way that I think doesn't like overdo it. Does that make sense? Another reason why this bag makes the list, and I'm gonna say it again, it's a little bit better than the boy bag. It has 2 magnets on the corners of the bottom of the flap to keep it closed, because Dior, like Givenchy, like a couple of others that have been on this list today, for some reason they cost less money and they just have better design features. Someone explained to me how and why, like, you know, Chanel costs what it does now and they haven't discovered magnets. What is going on here? I swear, I would have thought by the end of 2021 I would have added a YSL bag or kept a YSL bag in my collection. I sing nothing but their praises and I don't have one. I don't get it either. This is another great one. This is called the Becky bag. This is a flap bag that is really similar actually to some of the vintage Chanels you'll find out on the market. This has a chain strap that is at the top of the flap of the bag. It appears to have a magnetic clasp on magnetic clasp on the bottom. It has the YSL logo in detail. It comes in a couple of different colors and I really like the size. The only note that's a little bit different about this is that it's more narrow than most of the bags on this list, but I do think that it is a good size. It sort of has that like same shape and structure. Honestly, when I look at it, it kind of reminds me more so of the larger size of the boy bag. Another option for that size, if that's the size that you like. This one retails for $23.90. It's currently available, so I haven't seen it on the pre-love market just yet. And the only hitch for it though, honestly, something I don't love is the interior compartments that breaks it up. This is a very tall bag, so like you end up stacking your stuff on top of each other. But I digress. I think it's a cool shape. I think it's a cool color. I think that it comes in that really cool shade of green that I'm really into at the moment, and this is another great one to consider. All right, guys, so what did we think? How did we like these boy bag alternatives? Did you like any of these? Do you have any you'd like to add, or are you still gonna go for the boy bag? Be sure to comment down below if any of these were helpful, if I opened your eyes to new bags that you may not have seen in the past, and be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. So that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!